right. What's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Echo 4. I'm your boy, the Mad Prince. I'm going to be your moderator for today, and I'm joined by the homies. Go ahead and introduce yourselves one time.
Hey, it's your girl, Drea.
Yo, it's your boy, Kensign.
And it's your girl, Booty Monique.
And so what we about to do here is the first episode of a new series, Loki, came out. It's another series of like the MCU. And so it's new, it's MCU. We all love Marvel. They haven't really even the worst movie is like still better than a lot of other movies. So that's saying something. They have quality control. I just wish they kept that shit for that same energy for Star Wars, which it is what it is.
I had a feeling you was gonna make it big.
This horchata. I'm basically drinking a root beer float. That shit fire.
That sounds delicious.
Summer,
okay, so. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna talk about the first episode of Loki, which basically, like all the other MCU shows, takes place after the events of Endgame and leading up into some other kind of bullshit. So let's kick this off with first impressions. Somebody say something. Shit.
I think it was great. It was very hilarious. I'm glad that it's providing a lot of humor in the show. It's just a lot more lighten up from the last two shows that we've gotten from Marvel. So it's nice to have a little brightness. It's upside, kind of like how the Flash was on DC's end a while ago when they're the WV-verse. But yeah, it's nice to see some bright. And it's been good so far. I like it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the first episode. I actually watched it with a group of people and they were laughing through the dialogue. So I was just like, I'm gonna have to watch this again. I need to listen. And it was actually some really good conversations. It had a lot of heart and it was humorous. And so I am very excited. I didn't think I was gonna actually like this show because Loki's not necessarily my favorite character, but I might actually start liking this character more after this series. So yeah, that's my first impression.
Piggyback riding off of that. I didn't know what to expect when they already announced that they were making a Loki show. So seeing what they're already trying to initiate, I'm excited for it. And I do appreciate that all these actors get to have a different terrain with these characters. So it's like Marvel now branching out to do different character studies, and I'm here for it.
And okay, so Loki, it's an interesting thing to make a show around this character, because when you look at all the interactions with Loki in all the previous Marvel shows, he's always been an antagonist, but I wouldn't really call him like the main villain. He's definitely up to no good a lot of the time though, but there's usually always somebody else worse behind him that kind of incited the shit. When you look back at Avengers, the first Avengers movie, he was there because Thanos sent him there. And if you look at the Thor movies, what was it? All the Thor movies. First movie, it was the Frost Giants who were real assholes. It was second movie, it was the Dark Elves.
Dark Elves.
Then third movie, it was Big
Sister.
Hella.
He's always being overshadowed.
He's a lackey.
Yeah, Loki's been a lackey.
and you see a lot of character development from Loki. So seeing him in like a sort of different, like as a protagonist, more or less, because he's always been like either like a minor antagonist or like a whatever the fuck.
Neutral antagonist?
There you go. So he's always been that. So seeing him put into that main role and just seeing his character development and shit, especially from like how you know his story started and eventually ended, and how it's kind of restarting off in this new story. It's interesting. So yeah, I'm really digging it. So yeah. So Yeah, so there's a lot. There's a few things to unpack here. And just to be clear, I am shooting from the hip on this whole fucking thing, but it is what it is. So, before we jump into the minutia of this shit, does anyone really need a recap of what happened to Loki or anything of not okay, cool.
Yeah.
So where we see Loki, it starts off at the end of basically the Avengers. Avengers slash
in-game.
Yeah, so where we see Loki and you see that time, you see like that alternate time split. And Loki ends up escaping when really he shouldn't have, and he creates a time variant, like an anomaly, or in the fabric of space time, or whatever the fuck that is. And so he encounters the Time Bureau for the first time, all that in the bag of shit. So you know what? I just want to ask. When it comes to like series like this, when you bring time into like science fiction, shit gets weird really fucking quick. I want people's impression of that. Like, how do you see this shit playing out? Because all the concepts that they introduced in this show, like the Timekeepers, fucking Mobius, Time Variance Authority, all that shit exists in the comics. So I just want to get y'all opinion on like, how do you all feel about that?
Go ahead, Ken.
Okay. For me, as someone who's watched Legends of Tomorrow, which is a DC show that,
you know what, if you base I'm gonna stop you right there. If you basing your opinion off of that, bro, you have a shit opinion. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, bro.
Violence.
I chose violence today, bro.
So you gotta let me finish first.
Okay, go ahead.
So I know your opinion of that.
Yeah,
I heard echoes of that. So
Okay,
no. So yeah, but what I was saying, like, from what I was getting at first, when the way they were introducing the show, it started to give me echoes of the way that Legends of Tomorrow kind of introduced themselves. And introduced the timeline, the fact that you could alter and you could time travel, and that there's people that's like policing time travel, basically. But the concept here is a little more well done, a little more thought out, or at least it's not too much dumped on you at once. It's a good amount to kind of introduce you into like, wait, what's up? And then also a little bit of Umbrella Academy, like the way they kind of like the structure of how they're the time travel, and that is kind of like the 50s theme.
Right?
Yeah, that's it gave me that kind of vibes. That was like, oh, it's kind of a little blend of a little bit of spice from both, but its own goodness. So.
Okay, I apologize for my hostility. That is okay.
You're shooting from the hip. You're shooting from the hip.
But you know what? Every time somebody mentions Legends of Tomorrow, I want to go for the throat. That shit.
You should have heard when we was at C2E2 and I happened to mention Inuyasha, and this nigga went on a whole rant, and I was just like, well, I like the show.
Well, you know what? Inuyasha is different. Inuyasha deliberately wasted my time at a certain point.
We're not gonna go. Maybe that could be another show to throw.
Literally, that show ended in a middle finger to my face, and I'm like, fuck you.
That's true.
That's 4 years of my life wasted for a resolution that I didn't get to like 10, 15 years later. Fuck that.
That's true. I will not deny that.
And it wasn't like I was reading manga at the time. Damn.
Okay, so
continue.
What I think about the time travel stuff that's going on in this show, I'll be honest, that is not my strong suit at all. I have such a hard time keeping up with time travel. Endgame did it well enough where I was just like, okay, I got it. But when you're jumping back and forth, and now he split a timeline, and now I'm gonna try my best. I'm probably gonna ask y'all a bunch of questions in every episode. So please don't get annoyed at me, but I do find it interesting, and I'm just trying to see how it's going to play out to the next, like, I guess, this phase of the MCU. And it seems like time travel is going to be a big part. So, yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Time Variance Authority. Time is kind of in the title, so
I'm just saying, like, it seems like it's going to be a part of the MCU in general. So I'm gonna try my best to keep up.
We gonna touch more on that. Not right now though, but yeah, I get what you're saying though. Drea.
Rephrase that question because she got me lost.
Wait, did I answer the question?
I mean, I just need a question one more time. I was sipping, I was listening. I'm like, damn, she gonna be lost.
How do I
interpret?
How do you feel about the aspect of time? Because time travel is usually a point of contention when it comes to science fiction. So I just want you to know. I want to know, like, what are your thoughts on it in the context of this show? Do you think it will work out well? Do you think it's going to be convoluted? So on and so forth.
I don't hope it doesn't get convoluted, because any time that I've seen time traveling used, it just messes up not even just continuity, but just trying to keep things grounded. Mm-hmm. So I hope they do keep it grounded, not have too many variants, even though we do have several variants.
Yeah, they're already touching on that already.
Right. But it also made me weary about how it would end, because I didn't want to spoil, but he said, I can't go back to my time. So how will I exist now?
Okay. So yeah. My thoughts on time travel is usually one of those. It depends. It depends if it's like gimmicky or if they're really basing the entire premise of a show or a movie on time travel itself. And the shit is fucking weird. Like, I've seen plenty of time travel shows. Like, the only reason it is a slippery slope. Because I'm gonna tell you, Joe, I watch Doctor Who. There's been times where I watch Doctor Who and I'm like, nigga, what the fuck just happened? What is this? I like why you making a reference to the first episode? I barely remember that shit. That was like what, 10, 13 weeks ago, nigga? Like, why? Like, it's one of those things. But time, it kind of makes sense because, like, the cosmic aspect of Marvel is really vast, and it really deals with a lot of like concepts like time, space, dimensional bullshit, and they kind of touched on that throughout this throughout the whole MCU. Like, since what, like they touched on like the Celestials back in because like there is a race of celestial, like, who are celestial beings who call themselves the Celestials because they had no fucking imagination to give themselves a name. Yeah, and we're kind of and we're actually seeing that continue. The Eternals were created by the Celestials. They were humans created by the Celestials within the context of the comics. I don't know how they're going to write that backstory or maintain it in the movies, but yeah. So Cosmic Marvel has always been a bit of a sort of like, I don't know. It's always been a bit of a weird thing. So when it comes to like how they handle time, I don't know, man. It's a crapshoot. It can either go really good or it can go really bad. At least right now. At least right now, because I'm honestly, the shit that they did in Endgame, that kind of didn't make sense. They allegedly they tried to go to like the realistic approach with time, but audiences don't know shit about the realistic approach of time. That's why they were joking about it. Like, yo, this shit is like Back to the Future. Like, no, nigga, it's not like Back to the Future. and so that was the whole joke. Like, they approaching time in a way that's completely different than like what you'd initially expect. And so I don't know, man. It's one of those things where I'm kind of hesitant with, though. But Marvel hasn't exactly steered me wrong yet, so I'm willing to give it a chance.
You only got 6 episodes.
Yeah, so hopefully it doesn't get too convoluted. Okay, so with this episode, we get introduced to a lot of different. Just on a side note, Joe, seeing Loki get knocked out in slow motion was the funniest shit ever. I'm like, nigga.
Yeah, that was.
But the
so
pain
funny.
is in real time.
Oh my god! Like, bro, no, like even when you see anime, Joe, they were like, "Yeah, I can think faster than anybody. My synapses are firing so fast that everything looks slow and shit." Then they get their ass caught up and they see like the final blow coming, and like and for them, it feels like thousands of years just of the impending death, Joe. I've seen that shit so many times. It's just funny, but no. Yeah. So when it comes to the Time Agency, this bureaucratic nightmare of temporal agents trying to maintain a sacred timeline, all that in the shit, and all that in the bag of chips, and we kind of get a sense of their purpose and shit like that. I don't know about you. I hate bureaucracy though, but I kind of want to get people's opinions on it. Like, how do you feel about this agency? I'm more so going into concepts first before we get into the story, just to be clear. So Time Variance Authority, how y'all feel about it? Because it feels like a court date to me, to be honest.
It is.
Feels like the DMV. I'm like, everybody got an attitude. Everything is slow. It's just an annoying process. Yeah, I would not be happy if I was in like Loki's shoes at that moment.
Especially you get pulled into somewhere and they tell you that you not supposed to exist, so we ending your ass. Like, nigga, what?
Like, oh wow.
Yo, bro.
Something as simple as clocking in late can bring your ass here. Like, what?
Yeah, crazy.
I noticed how like they captured almost the same type of lighting that's like almost every government building or office.
Yeah, that ugly ass.
It was like tannish, like
that fucking
ass light bulb, like
that fucking soul sucking fluorescent lighting that I do not miss.
And he was like, I don't need no ticket. There's no one in line. There's no line. Get a ticket. And then,
busted that nigga,
like, hey,
bro. Loki was like, no,
I got my ticket. Let me go grab a ticket for real.
The conformity is so exhausting that this man's like, I've spent my whole life behind the desk. Like, these are people who just never experienced life outside of being a part of this system. So I'm like, yikes. So it is. He's like, I don't even know what a fish is. What's a fish?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Well, Infinity Stones, we got a bunch of these. Like, you have no concept outside of just.
Well, allegedly, they were created for that exact purpose, so they wouldn't have a.
Can you imagine your whole life is a 9 to 5?
Bro, I would fucking
your whole life. Not
your life. Your existence.
Your whole existence.
You ain't just living for that. You're existing for that.
You don't even know how long you've been alive because time works differently. So just indefinitely.
And then to be so afraid of death. I probably welcome it. It's like, yes,
I was like, please, end this nightmare.
Yeah, that's the department he's in. Nightmare.
I mean, if you essentially oversee time, Joe, would you really fear death at that point?
Oh no.
I can finally sleep, please.
But he feared it. Loki feared him, and he feared it. So
yeah.
Okay.
He probably scared him with the pain, just really painful experience.
Yeah. Yeah. The idea of working for a bureaucratic nightmare like that shit fucking ridiculous, Joe. And like the scope of this shit, Loki didn't really appreciate the scope of this shit until they saw all them fucking Infinity Stones in a fucking desk drawer. Like, nah, yeah, we get those all the time. We get those all the time, and they don't even work there. I'm like, bro. So this shit is definite. Yo, like, there's a time stone. You telling me the time stone doesn't work at the time variant? No. That shit is ass, bro.
That time stone is just a piece of Lego set, bro.
Man, it's a junk drawer.
It is like paper clips and all that stuff is in that drawer.
Okay,
we use these as paperweights. What you mean?
Crazy. We literally spent 10 years building up to the fucking Infinity Stones, and they're in his drawer as paperweights.
Yeah, you got thingamabobs?
Yeah,
I got plenty.
I mean, that's kind of a good way to say, like, nah, this shit over with. We're done with the Infinity Stones. This shit is over with. It's a fucking paperweight, nigga. It's it's barely worth more than a troll doll at this point, nigga. That's an interesting way to end that storyline by reducing that shit. Like they literally, like, if they found a way to get into the fucking time agency and shit, so many problems would have been solved off rip in Endgame. Like they just sitting on a surplus of like fucking Infinity. That shit is insane, bro. Anyway, okay, so I want to talk about Loki because, like, we all familiar with his story arc, and when we see Loki at the beginning of his bullshit. Not at the beginning. He's still very much in the neck deep into his bullshit until he sort of like has his like sort of gradual character arc change and shit like that. Then eventually we see how that manifests itself. So I kind of want to see, how do you think this version of Loki would change potentially within this story, within this series?
Oh, in this episode, it was when it was having that like kind of the counseling session with Owen Wilson character. It was like, oh, he's like, why are you're a killer? You enjoy killing? Like, no, yeah, no, I do enjoy. No, I actually don't. It's like I was doing it for a purpose, but now that his purpose is no longer something that he is finding purposeful, then I think like this is going to change, like where he finds it a purpose and not killing people, but maybe saving people. Mm. So this kind of like turn him around to like maybe transcend from like being a minor antagonist to maybe like not even an anti-hero, but more like not exactly protagonist, more just like in the gray area. Yeah, so just like someone who's more justified. There's more, for more fights for a different purpose, basically, since his original one is kind of shattered.
Yeah. You know what I find interesting about this show in particular is that we have the Loki 2012 Loki that is obviously insecure, trying to find his way, trying to find purpose.
He thoroughly needs his ass whooped.
Oh, definitely. He's like the annoying little brother that everybody's just like, oh my God.
He literally is an annoying little brother.
Yes. But like now we see him, in this place, and he saw his, his life already. And what do you do in that situation? We saw him as the audience change from where he was to, the end of his life in Endgame. But what I'm curious is like, what new stuff they're going to show us with Loki in this show? Because we already kind of saw his progression to just being a regular, I don't want to say a regular hero, but just kind of somewhere. He wasn't like shitty anymore. So I was
dingy.
He was dingy, but he wasn't shitty like he was. So yeah, I'm just curious to see like what else are they going to show us with Loki, and why does his story matter? So I'm thinking it has to play a part of the bigger picture. His story has to play a part of the MCU in whole, because character-wise, we already know where he went. I don't know. Yeah. But that's pretty much what I got for Loki.
For me, it feels like he's gonna get a reality check to do a recreation, because there's nothing left of his life as he know it. And you pretty much got told that, yeah, your only reason for existing is for the betterment of other people.
Oh, side character. Oh.
And I'm like,
that's fucked up. That was.
I
feel sorry for him, man.
It's like slide it in and then twist.
Oh yes. And just to have that shot of the Avengers, just that the little dolly around, I'm like, damn.
Like it's like exhibit.
I love how these series are giving people like their therapy sessions, and this
is all in the face. Just rub it all in there.
Yeah.
So I think after that reality check of what you've been doing with your life, how it literally amounted, to little. You're just probably been like an inspiration for other people. I think want to seize more control of something that's more worthwhile, because you've just been a footnote.
Eesh, that's rough. But yeah, you're right.
Basically been humbled.
Yeah. Okay. So my thoughts on Loki. like I said, I don't think he was ever like really like a bad guy. I think he's just like a salty cunt, more or less. Yeah, that's basically
bad visual.
Yeah. Damn. So do I. Shit. Damn. Anyway,
I don't know. That nigga was kind of bad.
He's a salty bitch. I mean, like
he was killing people, taking eyes out.
Like he's always wanted something of significance in he wanted power and something significance of himself. And like if you remember how his life started out, he's basically a frost giant who was abandoned by his father because he was like a midget, maybe. Well, damn, I shouldn't say midget. Small, little person. He was no. You know what is?
He was a little giant.
He was a little. He was a little giant. He was a little giant, and like Odin kind of adopted him, but like Thor
never felt accepted.
Right, he never felt accepted because Thor was always like. He was always a golden child, more or less, and we all know that Thor was just as equally a fuck up, if anything else. But yeah, so he always wanted something of significance, and he always trying to like, in order to make himself appear more powerful, more than what he actually was. He instilled fear, and he tried to instill fear in everyone around him, and tried to manipulate them for his own benefit. So it's a very insecure thing, and we see that whole progression though. But like, I mean, if this dude was really like bad to his core, he wouldn't have gone through that character arc where he kind of changed and more or less became something. Not an ass, less of an asshole. Because Loki was still an asshole, but he wasn't the asshole that we met in like Thor in like the first Thor movie.
Right.
You're a jerk. I know. You're a jerk.
Right.
I knew that was coming.
Jerk. Yeah. I know your laugh was like.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah. So speaking of which, that scene where Loki is getting interrogated by Mobius, played by Owen Wilson. Owen Wilson and shit. Like I want since this is sort of like an expansion on like that whole conversation. How do you feel about that whole scene, and especially when he went back and saw the rest of his would-be life? I want to hear opinions.
I would say that was a trip. I could only imagine being in Loki's shoes and looking at my life at the end of my life. And it's just like, wow, this really fucking sucks. Like, I didn't do shit. Like, I just couldn't imagine being in his shoes. And then I really did like the conversation between Owen Wilson's character and Loki, because he was breaking him down, just like, what do you want? What makes you tick? And I don't think he ever actually sat there and reflected. Yeah, like, what, you want to take over space, my nigga? Like, what?
Yeah.
So I appreciated that scene, because it seems like in every MCU show so far, everybody's getting their little therapy session, as Drea said earlier. And so here's Loki's, and it was the most interesting conversation in the show, or in the first episode for sure. So I really enjoyed it. I think their chemistry was it was there. It was definitely there. Yeah.
Okay. Somebody go. Damn.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you. Just how he was just questioning. It just shows how childish and childlike his ambitions were. As in, like, despite how intelligent he thinks he is, you don't think beyond the tip of your nose. And it was just a really like harsh reality. It was even sadder watching him watch his parents die.
Yes, that was
and it's
sad.
like, it's 2012. They're still around. You know, he's like, wow, this is, and like, I was a cause of that. I was a cause of my own mother, dying. And here I am, like, not long before she died, I'm like dismissing her. And then, damn, my dad died too. Oh shit, I have a healthier relationship with my brother. And I got choked out.
Well, in all fairness, that wasn't like, he was trying his best to like protect them niggas, more or less.
But
he was trying.
Though?
I mean, it was Thanos. There's a lot of nodding niggas that's going. I mean, Loki Loki literally got holed by Thanos once before. That's why he went to Earth in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So, like Loki gave it his best effort, and him dying for them, and him dying for his brother, and and what was left of Asgard was pretty much character development, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It really showed how far he came. That whole scene is really fucked. It's some heavy shit because he basically saw like his impact on everyone around him, and it justified what that judge had told his ass. You exist for the betterment of other people, even though you're an asshole. Like, bro, you are destined to lose. Like, damn. Yes. And like, yo, it's fucked up. Because at that point, because you had to think about it. Loki was trying so hard to create this image and this position of power for himself over a long period. He never really thought beyond it. It was really childish, but
very childish.
It was incredibly childish. And so when he see the results of that shit, not just what happened to him at the end of the first Avengers movie, but beyond the timeline of where he eventually dies and shit, he sees like the significance of everything he was doing and the change that and everything that happened. Because like we learned that we learned back in the second Thor movie though, but we see that again. He cared deeply for his mother. His issues were more or less mostly with Odin, because Odin was a bit of an asshole.
Issues.
He had issues.
True MCU.
Then
Odin had the best history himself.
Like Loki was more or less looking for acceptance and shit though, and then he gets to a point when he sees that his mother's dead, and like in his father's final moments and in his eventual timeline, his father dies and he calls him son, and you see that emotion come out of him, and it's like, bro, damn. So it's like a sense of reflection of like, yo, everything I was doing up to this point was bullshit. And sure enough, like I could have, had I not been an asshole, I pretty much could have had everything that I like really needed.
And that's really what he wanted. Acceptance.
Acceptance. Like the whole like being king and shit, yo. I mean, that shit's fleeting though, but he just wanted to be accepted and shit. And he had his head so far up his ass he couldn't really understand. He couldn't really see that until
smell his own bullshit.
Until the end. So
basically like, it was just a moment where he just got ultimately this bitch slapped with humbleness. where you know he's like,
tell him be humble.
It's simply just like he had aspirations. Oh, I want to be the king of everything, so therefore I will be accepted by everyone because I'll be a king. And then as I said, it's childish aspirations. Okay, so when you become king, then what? Oh, I haven't thought about
what
that.
happens after
and
that?
Then he gets slapped with this reality. All seeing the timeline, then he realized he's just an ant in an anthill on a park in a city on a planet in a solar system. Like that's what even in his scale, even in his scale of the galaxy, like he still realized
you're so small.
He's still quite small.
Teeny book. Yeah, it's just
practically insignificant, judging like from what that judge said. That judge was like, not shit. Ain't shit, Joe.
I mean, she living the hard knock life right there.
She told him like, this isn't like the story was never yours.
Yes, that was rough to hear. I was like, damn.
You're a footnote.
A footnote.
Barely even that.
Barely.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was harsh.
Yeah. All right. So there's something that all right. So I'm trying to think. I have two things I want to ask. I know what I'm gonna ask first. So, barring Loki and everything going on, we know that there's another plot going on that the Time Bureau, the Time Variance Agency, the TVA. The TVA, they're dealing with an issue of like someone going around fucking shit up, and you know what? this is the discussion. If whoever's watching this, I'm assuming that you've watched this shit already. So basically, the person who's fucking shit up is Loki. There's some version of Loki. So basically, we have one dead Loki and now two variant versions of Loki running around. One's having his light skinned Drake moment, and the other one is just on bullshit for what odd ass reason. So I want to ask, like, what do you think about like this eventual? This is going to be an eventual confrontation. It has to be. I want to know, like, what do you think about it? About this version of Loki going around, just causing havoc, for whatever odd ass reason, and what that could potentially mean.
Okay, so I figured. Oh, go ahead, Drea.
I just wonder, is it really odd? You already got a variant who's gonna fix shit. How we know during this process it does not fuck him up, causing the variant that you have now?
Yo,
and you just relying on time for this shit to happen again. It's getting convoluted, but I feel like it might go that way.
To keep it a buck, it's getting to the point where you got more Lokis than like Destiny Child members and shit, Joe. That shit is ass. Like, damn.
It is. I'm thinking that they want to have this other variant in the show to kind of introduce the idea of like different. I got the what's it called?
Multiverse.
Okay,
multiverse.
So that's gonna be my next question about the multiverse.
Okay.
But no.
Okay.
So that's why I'm thinking that's why he's gonna have to go against basically a different version of himself. I don't know what to think about it though, because I'm just like, nothing's in my head.
The only thing I want to add is that I just wonder if they're self-prophesizing this variant into existence. Like that kind of cliche thing. The very thing you try to do to stop it is actually what's causing it. So I'm like, as in how we do not know this can be like a 2012 Loki that just got fucked up because his therapy session didn't go well. He said, fuck this shit. He like, you know what? Let's try this again. He can fix this.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh God, my brain can't.
So that's what I'm like. Like you have all of these like Infinity Stones. So I'm like,
and that's why I hate time travel.
Yeah,
isn't a self-prophecy, and you're just using time variants to fix a variant problem. The end.
Yeah,
that's welcome to my TED Talk.
Yeah,
this is gonna be fucked.
Yeah, this is basically how I time travel. Just every time time travel is always introduced into any medium, it's going to be a double-edged sword. Like it can go good, it can go bad so quickly. And like with this, having this other version of Loki out there that is even more maniacal, and since he's then the version of Loki that we know, since this version is trying to fuck up the timeline, it seems, or do something like he's
doing Loki.
Yeah, he's on next level shit, basically.
Yeah,
next level Loki shit. So
it's the bad Loki.
It's like what I'm worried is like what reasoning is of the worst Loki. Like what's gonna be his reason, his motive? And I'm wondering like if it's gonna be a good motive, it's gonna be like just a toss in there, because there's also a lot of like just, you know how like when you order a salad at a restaurant and they give you the garden salad, like the low end greens. It's gonna be kind of like I'm hoping it's not like that. What it is with time travel sometimes when it's introduced in the shows or movies and stuff, they could just toss whatever simplistic reason. Whoa, I'm doing this. Why I'm doing that? Or is this version, this character that has this certain motive? And it's like, okay, will it be a really good motive or will it just be a toss off?
So you want it deeply rooted?
Because overall, when I'm seeing these shows, is being kind of as you see the moving, the migration to the next phase. So like this show is going to help shape the next phase. So this is going to be a key component into how the next phase is going to be shaped ultimately. So,
but no, I mean, we already in the phase. This is it. It's just
I guess it's talking about like the movies setting up, kind of like how we had the setup movie for Iron Man. Well, it's not a setup, but introducing characters, introducing different themes, so it can all come together towards the end. It's just like,
shit.
Yeah, so they're doing it with the shows. They're not necessarily movies anymore. So right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of appreciate that though.
Yeah, it's different. I like
it's
it.
different and like
it's a different investment.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Different
So
pace too.
yeah. Oh shit. Hell yeah. Fucking like better than
Bad
Star
Batch.
Wars. Better than Bad Batch. They need to get Kevin Feige over the LucasArts, bro, because I don't know what's going on.
I don't know what's
over there.
going on. Yeah.
So did any of us watch that episode? And we just
I
throwing
did
shade?
watch it.
I watched it.
Damn. No improvement. Never mind.
No, it's more
This one
exciting. This is actually an exciting episode. Like that's actually
Damn.
yeah. I know it just took what 5 fucking episodes. I mean, the first episode was fine. It's just everything after that was just kind of like ass. But that's for another video.
Yeah,
Check that video out. It should be out by I don't know. We upload whenever and during the week, but it should be out at some point.
Get the notifications.
Subscribe, get the notifications and shit, Joe. It's funny because one of my subscribers like, damn, you finally back on YouTube. Like, what the fuck you mean? I upload every week. Like, oh, I don't be getting notifications. Well, hit the fucking bell. Hit the fucking bell. Damn, I literally make videos every week. I live stream every week. Like that should be blowing me, Joe.
Hey, you better be Quasimodo and hit that bell.
Oh, Joe.
Bye.
Hit niggas with spam and shit.
Your bad jokes.
Okay. Shit. Okay.
About the multiverse question you had.
Yes, multiverse. So when when Loki first gets to the Time Variance Agency and shit, Joe, he sees a little like 50s style cartoon infomercial, kind of explaining what this agency is and what's the purpose of it is, its origin, so on and so forth. And it drops a few hints, a few nuggets of eventual bullshit. So basically, it explains the Time Agency is meant to protect a single timeline. Or otherwise, it'll create multiple multiverses that can end in madness. Nigga. So, I just want, I mean, we all already know where this is potentially headed. No, it's not even potential. It's pretty much set at this point. We know where this shit is heading. So basically, this question it's sort of like a 2-part question. It's like, how do you feel about the eventuality of this multiverse sort of coming about? How do you think it's going to happen? And I kind of want to hear your predictions for not just the next episode, but just like a general. I know it's a pretty loaded one, but it kind of fits in one all together though. Just a general prediction of how you think these next 6 episodes are gonna go. Just like a general thing.
Not even the episode, just the rest of the phase. We have a whole Doctor Strange movie talking about the multiverse. I don't need Avengers with the multiverse. That's too much.
I do think this is the main reason why they wanted to explore with Loki, so they can start to introduce it slowly to the audience, where it's like, okay, this is a thing. So when you see it in the big movie, you won't be confused and be like, well, how does that work and all of that stuff. So I understand why they're doing it, and I understand why they're using Loki, but
the potential is scary.
I heard somewhere that they're talking about X-Men being, a part of the multiverse and Avengers and all.
Which
that.
one? Which X-Men? X-Men should just not be included.
I mean, like I heard Hugh Jackman. I heard.
Whenever anyone, like I said, whenever the word multiverse or time travel is tossed anywhere in any mixture, it just becomes a convolution of bullshit. Like it's just like, well, like you could toss in any recipe at that point, like anything to the recipe. Like it's just.
I know, and I already thought that like Endgame was like pushing it with how many characters they had. Like, it was a lot, but they did it so well that it wasn't too much for me where I left out the theater. Like, that was just a jumble mess. There we go. I know. But with this one having different, I know they're all under Marvel, but like X-Men to me, it just seems so different from like MCU, and I just
it's not just X-Men. Y'all got to remember.
Fantastic Four.
Not just Fantastic Four. You got to remember Deadpool's in that shit too, because he's in that same universe.
I'm okay with
Deadpool. And they kind of already said that Deadpool is going to make an appearance at some point.
Oof, yeah, it just seems overwhelming to me, but
it's just X-Men need to be retconned. I mean, to consider it.
If you look at the full scope of Marvel itself, there's a lot. There's different levels to this shit. That's just insane.
There's levels.
Levels. They got.
I just think when you introduce more like variables and stuff, like it's really hard to keep the writing tight. And I'm such a big fan of just like a nice cohesive story. I'm just so scared of having all of this shit just becoming a mess of MCU, and almost like I'm think Star Wars traumatized me. The new trilogy is. I'm like, I don't want it to turn out the way that fucking shit did. So I don't know. I'm not gonna say I'm completely like excited for it, but I am curious to see what they're going to do with it.
You know what? With that said, I think they can make it clean. It's just that, like, for example, X-Men, unfortunately, it probably can't be the X-Men that you guys know, or maybe just characters that you haven't seen in X-Men. So you're utilizing, I guess, pre-existing content, but you're using someone different and new, so it doesn't feel too attached. Like almost like in WandaVision, you had the same guy playing Quicksilver, but it wasn't him.
Yeah.
He was just a random nigga.
Yeah,
but that shit confused me. I was just like, what?
It was cute, but it's cute.
But at the same time, we know that Wanda's going to play some role in like Multiverse of Madness. And so that may mean something. I don't know. Because that's a calculated choice. That's a very calculated.
I thought it was a gag.
Yeah, that's a calculated choice just for it to be a gag. That's too much. Like, yo, that's like I don't think that's.
I forgot who said it, but somebody from Marvel said that it was just like a bait and switch type thing. It was just like it was like a little fan service, but it didn't mean anything. That's what I heard, but I'm not sure. I do think they probably trolling us on that situation. Regardless,
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Like the potential of it feels catastrophic, but I think they can pull it off well. It just won't be how everybody expects it to be. Like it's not going to be the same cut of people as you think it would be.
Well, hopefully if we do get a new Quicksilver, maybe hopefully he can dodge better than Uncle Neji.
Oh man!
Was that too soon? Was that too soon? I'm sorry. No, I'm not. Oh shit!
But
it's a nigga that can literally see 160 degrees around himself, and he still called him L. And he still had to die.
Why did he have to be? Why did it have to be him?
And the only reason
Wanda needs some good trauma.
Yeah, her parents dying was trauma enough, but let's add the brother in there too.
Ooh, question. Just a little side note. Who therapy session was rougher, Wanda or Loki?
I think
probably Loki.
I mean,
no, I think
he saw himself die.
I think Wanda.
His parents died.
He saw himself die though, but
and then realized he's the cause of his mom dying.
Wanda literally enslaved an entire town of individuals to play out a fantasy for her own benefit.
I mean,
Loki. This version of Loki didn't do no shit like that.
Loki did worse. He fucking invaded Earth and had aliens come and
that version. We're talking about within the context of the show, though. Loki basically went through 10 years of like character development within the span of 40 minutes.
I'm just saying,
It was a Loki recap.
It was a Loki. Yeah, they smart.
Loki, it was a recap.
Loki was a recap for the audience. Yep.
Y'all remember this nigga one shit, right? And y'all started liking him again.
Yeah, I do kind of think about it. I was like, damn, he was kind of a piece of shit for a while.
That nigga legit tried to stab Doctor Strange. He was like, nigga, get out of here. Bye.
That shit was funny.
I saw that scene again. I saw that scene again recently. I'm like, yeah, that's right. Loki was on bullshit.
And then he killed what's his name? Agent
from Agent Shield.
Killed. Well, we don't even know the whether or not that fits into the MCU anymore because they did so much shit that
I know
it made sense until they did other shit, and it's like, what the fuck? Because
I liked him, and I was pissed at Loki. I was like, oh,
maybe
Coulson ended up dying anyway, so it didn't matter.
Maybe they're going to utilize some of this show to kind of tie up any minor loose ends that occurred, which because when playing with timeline stuff, like that is one reasoning that people integrate that into some storylines. So, we use this as a reason to fix some stuff. Like,
my brain is hurting right now. Oh God,
girl, we have another recording that have nothing but time traveling.
Luckily, it won't be too focused on that.
Exactly. You better get your head together. We got more to stress about.
God,
I'm dead.
But when they introduce how the time people, the agency is pretty much trying to keep the timeline together and one is interwoven. So going back to my earlier question, like, what is the motive of this other Loki? What if his motive, of course, is to break it apart? So ultimately,
that seems very Loki-like.
Yeah, but but it could be the reason why it becomes more of a multiverse in this phase. Is he's the one that kind of breaks it up, and
he's a child who found out that what you did didn't work. His therapy session failed. He said, "Fuck everybody,"
and it kind of ties in like with him like losing his motive, his reason to like be king of his world, his universe. Yeah, now maybe I could be king of
Midgard or whatever the fuck. I don't know.
Let me get one of them big ass lizards that are holding this sacred timeline.
Well, it could be the agency is like, oh, we recruited an earlier vagrant of you, but he fucked up. He's fucking us up. So now we're going to recruit you to stop yourself, because that's
even a black girl like this is a bad idea, sir. No,
listen to black girls. When we say that shit's a bad idea, it's gonna bite them in the ass. Reset him, and they gonna be looking stupid. Episode 6, where we should have resetted him.
I told you.
I told you.
With some hot chips, I told you.
I told y'all. Now y'all dumbass gotta figure it out.
Now that I think about it, there is a story where Loki, like a future version of Loki, plays like a secret agent for Asgard. It's literally called Loki, Agent of Asgard. I never read it though, but Marvel touches on like different versions of fucking future versions of like characters and shit. Like King Thor in the future is a motherfucker. Just literally knocking niggas to the other side of the universe. Like King Thor ain't shit. Like, that motherfucker does not need to be tried.
Like, hammer time.
But as far as the implications of this shit though, you know what? On the side note, what was weird about that comic when Thor the Avenger met his past and future self, his future granddaughters were really feeling him and shit. They were like, "Damn, you kind of cute. What you got going on?" And
we don't know what Asgard is like, so they could be all.
Well, you know what?
related.
It doesn't make it better. It doesn't make it better. But neither one of them knew that they were like related. Eventually they found nothing happened, but eventually they found out like, oh, that's Grandpa in his younger days. Damn.
I mean, if it's Chris Hemsworth. I'm just saying.
Like, damn, granddad, you was point.
Damn.
Oh no,
You
I
see how
remember.
big his arms like is right now? Did y'all see that picture?
Let me go see.
Yeah, I'm like this motherfucker Jet. This ain't the same Thor. You know what that is though? Cause he's playing he's doing a biopic where he's playing Hulk Hogan. I think that's what that is.
Oh, that's why he's so jacked up.
Yeah, because Hulk Hogan.
Now.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan was a big motherfucker in his prime.
He got them
So
steroids.
yeah, exactly.
Ooh, he look beefy.
Oh, beefy.
Yeah, so yeah, like I'm like, damn, why the fuck? Like Thor ain't never looked like this.
Like,
and I'm like, that's
like,
right. He's playing Hulk Hogan. That's right.
Him and Dwayne Johnson just been doing nothing but been in the gym.
Right.
Dwayne Johnson is turning into a superhero himself. Like we gonna have
Like
too big.
A nigga can't turn his head.
Right? Probably can't move them arms. I mean, I'm still a fan.
You know what? I work with somebody like that. He just up a bod, just gotta rotate.
So when you call his name, does he turn his whole torso to look?
not his neck.
He just waves you over like, come on.
Hilarious.
Come around.
How you doing?
Get my peripherals.
I like you, and I want you.
Oh my god.
We can do this the easy way. You can do the hard way. Nigga, get your swole ass out my face. All right, so as far as predictions go, it's going to be interesting to see what the motivations of this future variant Loki is. We don't even know. Maybe it's a future version of this variant Loki. See, this is why I don't like time travel. This shit gets convoluted pretty fucking quickly.
Very quick. Yeah.
So is this another variant, or is this the future version of this current variant? What is his motivations are? I mean, because I don't know. I feel like, bureaucracy will drive me crazy. Well, it might drive me to murder on real shit. Like, it's like, bro, if I get caught up in the middle of some bureaucratic nightmare, like, I mean, I'm clearly making a joke. Let me make that perfectly clear, though.
Please
But I would be disgruntled as fuck, and like, so I don't know. I feel like something's gonna happen where like this version of Loki and the current version of Loki that we following are actually one and the same, just in different parts of that same variant timeline.
Oh god.
And I think a confrontation between both of them is what's potentially going to be the kickoff of like the whole multiverse bullshit.
Okay.
I wonder if the other variant Loki had a different identity or an identity crisis. I'm like, we know it's Loki. Why can't we see your face? What's going on here?
Maybe it's not.
It is.
They said it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Or maybe it's someone who looks like, or took over his body.
Or this is an alternate, or this is like a alternate multiverse version of Loki. Because when they did all the promotional shit, one of the things that they did do is like they mentioned that Loki is gender fluid. And like there has been, and there has been,
it's gonna be hella.
And no,
it'll be a female Loki.
I know, but that ain't gonna look like hella.
That bitch
look like your sister.
Nah, her ass is dead. She literally died in Ragnarok. She wanted to save her shit. No, I think what's gonna happen.
So she did die. Okay, thank you. I was like, there was no confirmation on that.
I think what's gonna happen.
It's more like it.
I think what's gonna happen is like it's just gonna be an alternate version of Loki from like a alternate universe, like an alternate universe. And that's just going to be like a female Loki, maybe. I mean, because that makes sense. Because I think there has been like female versions of Loki in the past, in the comics and shit. And so, yeah, I think that's just going to, I don't know. I mean, what better way to kick off the multiverse of madness or the madness of the however they fucking phrase this shit. What better way to kick it off if by having like someone, a version of you from an alternate universe causing bullshit.
Does he have like a still long-standing contract with with them to make like a certain amount of more movies or content or anything? Because in this sense, if his contract is like kind of up after this, it could be a way of a transitioning to like keeping that character in the phase, but having a new character play in it.
There's still a Thor 4, Love and Thunder, so I doubt that they wouldn't do a Thor without Loki. It kind of wouldn't make sense.
Unless it's like this Loki and this Loki.
I don't know. That's too many Lokis, to be honest, bro.
It's gonna be one Loki.
Like there was a comic of like Wade Wilson seeing like a female version of himself from an alternate universe, and like he legit tried to fuck her. That I don't know. I kind of don't want to. Yep. Deadpool is weird. Anyway, so I don't know if Marvel gonna be playing that card all too often. Having like.
Well, I don't think they'll go to that extreme, or anything like that, or something. Just,
unless it's Deadpool, then they really do need to go to that extreme.
But as you see here, what I said before, whenever you toss timeline or time travel or multiverse into any recipe, is going to introduce pretty much. You could just put anything in there, and it could somehow make sense, or in their view, it makes sense, but in our view, it may not.
See, there's a genre of shit called self-cess. That shit is fucking. You know what? Let's not talk about that. So yeah, that's yeah. Anyone got any final thoughts or opinions on Loki, so on and so forth? No. Okay, we're
just excited for some action. God damn it!
Yeah, I'm excited
slow
too.
Ass episodes.
I mean if y'all need some extra tickets, I got extra tickets just in case.
Yeah, give me one. They ain't about to obliterate my ass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that he went. Yeah.
I mean, granted, the fact is that there wasn't a lot of action in this episode, but like next to none though. But it's just but like the story itself was really engrossing and interesting, and like it was mostly dialogue, and even the dialogue was really engrossing and seeing. So I like this shit better than Bad. Totally different video.
It's
like, comment, and subscribe.
It's real though. It's the truth, damn it.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Ken. What you about to say?
Yeah, I would say, I have seen this trend of like from this show and also with Captain Winter Soldier and with WandaVision. Like we're seeing more trend of like more character development, more like these dialogue scenes, and they're just getting more like. Just get more of the character and then less of the action. Although the action is there, but
that's the benefit of having like a television show, because you can spend more time developing characters rather than doing all that shit in like 2 hours tops. So
even then, I feel like the ratio in shows compared to movies, it's a lot more in development and less in action. Which even still, it's still a good balance for me still so far.
Yeah.
So.
That's why I think Loki will probably be a part of the bigger picture. You know how they kept emphasizing that, he's just a side character. He's a footnote. And now I feel like this is going to be his time to be front center. Yeah, like, Thor was front center in the, last phase. So now it's Loki's turn and this is his story. So,
you know what be so ironic? What if he's a side character again, causing more bullshit for the next phase, like then, you have been doing the entire
time? Then somebody over there hates Loki if that happens.
As in, like, it feels like it's your story because you are guiding us through it, but you still fulfilling the same fucking purpose.
Oh, no, please! God, that'd be terrible.
You just give us more content. Thank you, Loki.
I mean, what was it? With General Hux.
I'm the spy. That motherfucker.
All right,
everybody. That's this first this discussion of the first episode of Loki. If you have any thoughts or opinions, put them in the comment section down below. But that's been Echo 4 signing off. Deuces.